Now, moving into the first verse. Here I'm going to play the first verse and then I'll break it down. Here is the first verse played in roll speed. Verse 1. For verse 1, we have 8 separate parts. Part 1 begins by playing our low E string open. And then following that, what you're going to do is this. You're going to pick your D string open. And after you've picked it open, what you're going to do is you're going to take the pointer finger of your fretting hand and you're going to hammer onto the 2nd fret of your D, then pull off, and then hammer back on to the 2nd fret of your D string. That will sound like this played slow. Looking at that from this angle will look like this. So far here in part 1 of the first verse, we have this played slow. We have this so far in roll speed. Looking at that in roll speed from this angle here looks like this. And then after that, what we're going to do is you're going to take your pointer finger and you want to bar across your A and your D strings here at the 2nd fret. So lay your pointer finger flat on the neck of your guitar so that you firmly press down on the A and the D strings here at the 2nd fret. And then once you've done that, what you're going to do is you're going to take the palm of your picking hand and you're going to lightly rest it on the strings next to your bridge so that you get a palm mute here. Now once you've palm muted and you have your pointer finger in position, we are first going to pick our low E string open. And then after that, you're going to pick your A string 2nd fret where your pointer finger is. And then after that, you will pick your low E string open once again. And then after that, you will pick the 2nd fret of your D string where your pointer finger is. So far here all together in part 1 of the first verse, we have this played slow. Looking at what we have so far in part 1, here we have this from this angle played slow. So far we have this in part 1 played in roll speed. And then after that, what we're going to do is you're going to place your pointer finger here on the 5th fret of your A string. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the A string one time, and after I've picked it, I'm going to quickly, with my ring finger, I'm going to hammer onto the 7th fret of the A and then immediately pull back off. That will sound like this played slow. Looking at that from this angle. And that's going to be a quick hammer on and pull off. So in roll speed, that's going to sound like this. So far altogether, we have this played slow for part 1. And then what we're going to do is you're going to place your ring finger here on the 7th fret of your low E string. You're going to pick this note one time, and after you've picked it, you're going to slide down to the 5th fret of your low E. That will sound like this. And that is going to end part 1 of this verse. Part 1 played all together in slow. Part 1 played in roll speed. Now moving into part 2, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our thumb over the top of the neck of the guitar. Press down firmly on the 3rd fret of your low E string. To begin part 2, you'll pick your low E string one time. You'll be playing the 3rd fret where your thumb is. And then following that, what we're going to do is you're going to place your middle finger here on the 3rd fret of your B, and you want to place your pointer finger on the 2nd fret of your G. Press down firmly on those two notes. That will be the 2nd fret of the G with your pointer finger, and the 3rd fret of your B string with your middle finger. Now what we're going to do is we're first going to pick those two notes together. And by the way, throughout this part, leave those two fingers right where they are. So far here we have this in part 2, played slow. And what we're going to do next is this. Like I said, leave those two fingers right there. What you're going to do next is you're going to take your pinky and you're going to place it on the 5th fret of your D string. You want to pick the D string 5th fret one time. And then after that, what you're going to do is you're going to pick your pinky up off the board. You're going to once again pick your G and your B strings together. Still the same two notes, which are the 2nd fret of the G and the 3rd fret of the B. We'll pick these two once again, and this time after we pick them, you'll take your ring finger and you're going to hammer on to only the 4th fret of the G. That will sound like this. So far, all together here in part 2, we have this played slow. Looking at that from this angle here, we have this so far in this part, part 2. After we've hammered on to the 4th fret of our G with our ring finger, you will then pick your ring finger up off the board. We still have our first two notes that we had held down here, 2nd fret of the G and the 3rd fret of the B. After we've hammered on, you'll pick your ring finger up and you will then pick those two notes once again, the G and the B strings, 2nd and 3rd frets will sound like this. All together here we have this in part 2, played slow. And then after that, you will once again place your pinky on the 5th fret of your D string, pick that note one time. Then pick your pinky up off the board and once again play your G and your B strings where your pointer finger and middle finger have been this whole time. And that will end part 2. Part 2 played all together in slow. Part 2 played in roll speed. Parts 1 and 2 played in roll speed. Now for part 3, what you're going to do, you'll bring your thumb over the top of the neck of the guitar and press down on your 3rd fret of your low E string, pick that note one time. Then after that, you're going to move your thumb up to the 5th fret of your low E. You'll pick it once and continue to press down firmly, let the note ring out for 1 second. And then pick that note once again. So far here in part 3 we have this played slow. And then after that, what we're going to do is you're going to place your pointer finger here on the 5th fret of your G, and you want to stretch your pinky out to the 9th fret of your D. We're going to pick our D and our G strings together. The two notes that we will be playing here will be the 9th fret of the D and the 5th fret of the G. Play those two notes together. Then place your ring finger on the 7th fret of your D. Leave your pointer finger on the 5th fret of your G string. Pick those two notes. Then take your pointer finger and bar across your D and your G strings here at the 5th fret. Play those two notes together. So far here in part 3 we have this played slow. And then after that, what we're going to do is you're going to place your pointer finger on the 5th fret of your A string. You're going to pick that note, and after you picked it, you will hammer on to the 7th fret of your A. It will sound like this. Then after that, you will drop your pointer finger down to the 5th fret of your D. You will pick that note, and after you picked it, you will hammer on to the 7th fret of your D string, and then immediately pull back off. That will sound like this. And by doing that, that will end part 3 of the first verse. Part 3 played all together in slow. Part 3 played in roll speed.